We'll do that again then. We call this city council meeting for the city of Yam held to order Wednesday, March 11th, 2026 at 6:31 PM. We have a roll call, please.
Kind here.
Esky here.
Morgan here. We have Counselor Perrin is out sick tonight. And Counselor Featherston has a work commitment that she was not able to get out of. But we do have quorum, so we'll keep going. And moving along, we'll do the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So agenda updates or additions? Do we have any agenda updates or additions tonight?
I do not have any updates or additions.
Fantastic. So public comment. I'm gonna get the sheet. Thanks. So again, he'll encourages all citizens to comment on any city business. This is not a dialogue platform. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes. And if you need for the future special accommodation or additional time, please contact City Hall in advance. Robert Davis is the first on the list. You wanted to speak tonight, sir?
Absolutely. Thank
All
you,
right.
Mr. Mayor.
Good evening.
And good evening to everyone, including all the council members. Thank you for being here. I know it's probably a chore to show up a lot of the times. Glad you're here to listen to me talk again about water. The same thing I said last month, and I will repeat myself for everyone's hearing. We are, and currently, at the lowest level of 50% of our typical average snowpack in more than a decade. With that said, and nobody really knows how our Turner Creek gets all the water all the time, because it can't be rain and runoff, because it doesn't rain and runoff in the summertime. So we believe that a lot of it is coming off of Barney somehow, some way. Can't prove it, don't know how, but it's surmised. With that said, without snowpack, Barney Reservoir will be lacking, and everybody who draws off of Barney will be pulling water as well during the summertime. So, like Councilor Perrin said, like Jason said last month when I brought the same issue up, we will be looking at a shortage. Right now, our rainfall is 2 inches behind. That may be made up here this next Thursday and Friday. I'm not sure, but if it predicts like it's been going for the last 2 years, we may be looking at a shortage. And I just want the council to understand that it's better to get ahead of the game than to play catch up. And by that, I mean, notify the residents in advance to start thinking about conserving, not just going about the way that they normally do during the winter time, because we got lots and lots of water. So other than that, and that was also reiterated by Councilor Perrin. So also said from Jason. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Rocky Lossley.
I did want to speak a word on water, but it's already been stated, so I won't rehearse that again. But water and the shortage of it represents only one of a many different number of disasters that could in fact take place. So I would like to just reframe or remind us about framing how we would handle disasters and from a sky-high perspective. Not a lot of detail, but the point being that you as the council, if we have a serious disaster, you are really going to be very intimately involved in helping to direct and taking actions and being responsible for the whole city community. And so as a result of that, either getting training that you've never had or a refreshment of training in emergency disaster operations could be, well, it's just strictly important for you to have that kind of a background. And better to do it before a disaster than during. And the only thing you can do afterward is you can't take the training and you can do a lot of reflection on what did or what did not work. So involved in that, we have whatever emergency operations happen to be involved in, whatever the disaster might be, understanding that we have a planning section, a logistics section, a finance section, and then of course you have public information and public education. Those are areas that you all need to give consideration to and put the matrix of that together. So when something happens, you call on the people that are directly involved in participating in, you might say, the management portion of it. And it never hurts to go through an exercise, to become familiar with yourselves, to become familiar with the process so that you actually can be very efficient. And then there's the issue of resources. This can be a time before the disaster to have listings of all different sorts of resources. Now, I know that you've been in tune with the county emergency management system and the people that are involved. But aside from that, if we don't do it ourselves in our own community, there will be a hole in the system, and we want to plug that hole. And then moving on, I'm just so pleased to see and read in today's agenda and information provided with it that we are approved for a new replacement reservoir. Fantastic. That is great. But it won't be here tomorrow. And it probably won't, it may not be built within one full calendar year. It might not be. And if it is, that would be wonderful. In regard to money, inflation is not our friend, and we deal with inflation all the time. In fact, I would say that we're probably in a pretty serious inflationary time right now. And on the horizon, I hope I'm not going past my time. I hope you're looking at the clock. Yeah, okay. How much time do I have?
Talk
40
real
seconds
fast.
past.
How many?
40 seconds past.
I am 20 seconds past already.
40, 45 now, 47.
Be quick.
No, I'll be obedient to the rule and I will speak some more later. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. And Carol, I saw your name on the list as well, so.
Mine's really big.
Yes.
Prendergast, 280 South Hollow Street. I just wanted to ask, what's being done or planned to be done and who owns the Quonset hut across from down here with the top that's come off? I know they replaced the top and then it blew off again,
Oh,
but who's responsible for the maintenance of that? Do you know?
so yeah, not question and answer time, but
I know
I think it's
I
the
know
fire hall. I think it's the fire hall, yeah.
Are there any plans that you know of or to kind of cover that area up? Oh,
Typically, we wouldn't do this, but
I know
we
you-
got a small crowd tonight and a light agenda, so Rocky, I think you
sorry.
can speak to it.
I could.
okay.
And as much as I know about the Quonset hut, I can tell you right now that the fire department is most definitely, they are looking at it in terms of repair and or utilization, meaning that if they do attempt to utilize it greater than it is right now, because it is in serious disrepair, it will look and it will be a very important resource to them and will not be an eyesore to the community.
Okay, that was just
Yes.
a question, and I know it's not question and answer time.
You know, but that's legit. I kind of wanted to know too.
Okay, well, good, thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Do we have anybody online that has their hand raised or would maybe like to raise their hand now?
I have no one online.
All right. I assume nobody sent a letter.
The only correspondence I received was from Counselor Featherston. I don't know if you're gonna be addressing that in your administrator report. Okay,
Which actually, moving on to department reports would be the city administrator's report, and we will start with. I'll read part of a letter from Counselor Featherston, just she wasn't gonna be here today. She wanted to make sure that some people were aware of her thoughts. It says here in this section, thank you to our staff who have put in effort over the last couple of years on the water tank storage grant. Getting that will greatly help our community, not just city residents. And thank you to Chief Graven for putting in double duty yet again by doing his job, covering extra hours and training Reserve Officer McMullen. He is sounding good on the radio the few times I've heard him. So you still sound good.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So that was a letter from Featherston. And the grant she was referring to, I'm sure everybody knows, but we did finally get letter of award for FEMA, as well as Business Oregon for a total of $3.498 million for a new water tank, which is super huge and makes Jason a very busy man, coming up very, very quickly. So those are all good things. Counselor Askey and I attended the COG dinner last week. It was their annual report dinner, some of the things that kind of going over some of the things and services that they can offer our town. I tried to attend the community club meeting last week and got called away after about 15 minutes here, but trying to reach out with them a little bit more than we've done before. Let's see. Their RFP for our engineer is basically done. I just have to work with our city recorder over the next week to get the exact time for all the postings and so forth. Not gonna take anything away from our public works guys, but the North Olive Water Project has been completed. And it's a good job on that. I'll let him give you the details later. Bob posted a great picture of our new bus stop. So that looks pretty good up by the bank. Budget season's just begun, so first meeting next week. And baseball fields are getting sort of squared away, so thank you again, Public Works, for that. And there's some interest potentially from Gaston to use some of our field time as well. So there's a little bit of interest in that. And then I will be out by the end of this month. I'll be out of the state for a little over a week. So as per our charter, Counselor Askey will take over as mayor if there is a need for such a thing to happen. And that's what I have for city administrator's report. Financial report from our lovely finance manager who was stuck in. Bob, you were speaking about snow a minute ago. I just happened to notice 14.9 inches of snow today on Mount Hood. So although we're behind, good for the water, not so good for my wife driving over in it. And so there's nothing, I mean, in the financial report, I did not notice anything that was sort of alarming or out of the ordinary. I was not told by our finance manager that there was anything. Did any counselor have any questions on that?
No.
Nope.
Beautiful. Moving on. Police department.
That's good.
That's you.
I did include the stats report and staff report. Does anyone have any questions? Was able to review that? If not, then I'd be happy to answer any of those questions.
I just think it's amazing that you guys are able to handle that many hours and miles considering everything that you guys are going through with training and everything right now. So thank you again for that. Super cool.
Thank you, appreciate that. Just a quick update, as of about 3 hours ago, I had a meeting with the sheriff and other chiefs for the cities that the animal control for the sheriff's office is tentatively a conversation stage of coming back. So I just want everyone to be aware of that, because the challenges, and ironically, I don't know if it was a test, but the reason I'm muddy is because as soon as I was done with that meeting, not 30 minutes later, I was out chasing some dogs in the mud, so. That program is coming back. It's, this conversation stages at this point, so the conversation piece, the reason I bring it up is the revenue that comes in from the licensing for dogs would be, instead of funneled through the organizations, would be a part of the sheriff's office to help fund the animal control program. And I know that, just not definitive numbers, but the revenue that we've received from the licensing is about, to date for the fiscal year, is a little over $300 for licensing. The budget through the general fund is $515 for the year. And the program that we have currently set up that the city and or the police department budget cannot incur is the fact that it's about $3,000 a month to be able to have a place to kennel dogs. And it's, regardless if we bring an animal there or not, that's a requirement to pay that fee. So the city can't afford that. So we've been unfortunately in a limbo for that and doing the best that we can. The community has been great with social media and locating dogs, and we do have a chip reader, if it isn't known, that we can actually, if they're chipped, be able to read the chip and then go through a whole process. It doesn't just tell you on the device, you have to go through a whole process and set up through this subscription to be able to look to find it and then call that outfit that houses it. So it's not just as simple as I thought it was, where you read the chip. It tells you who the owner is. It's a process still. So having said that, animal control conversation piece is potentially coming back through the sheriff's office, which will be great. And all the chiefs of police that were involved in that meeting today were on board with the fact that that's how that revenue would funnel through, because it's a quarter of the amount that is costing cities to have to fund the program themselves.
Would that save time as well on your end?
Yes, it will. For example, yes, I would go to this call like I did because I would be closer potentially, and then animal control would come out and handle the whole thing. And if animals need to be kenneled and so forth, they would be responsible for all of that and the associated fees. So this is a program that we had that ended back in, I want to say 2015 or 16 through the sheriff's office. So their conversation and the executive board is involved with the conversation and in support of it as well.
Great.
So I just wanted the council be aware of that that's potentially going to happen, and hopefully the support of the council for that being a decision, because we'll lose about $515 out of the general fund, but we'll save, if needed to happen, a one-time thing of $3,000. If I were to have to take those dogs over to a kennel right now, we would have to be paying $3,000. Fortunately, the owner showed up right away and was able to take the dogs. So, any questions about
No,
that?
that's great that we have that. I think it was said earlier today correctly that it would be cheaper to put them up at a decent hotel.
Yes.
Right.
Including the damage.
Yeah.
Officer Livingston's doing well. I just spoke to him today at the training that he's going to, and he's into week basically 2 of the training program. I did go up to the school today and let them know again that I'm filling in his place right now as the school resource officer. So I went through the schools and talked with the staff there and some of the kids, and I did let them know that I'm not taking his place, that he's awesome there, and there's no way I could fulfill that responsibility that he has, but that I'm filling in while he's away for training. So that it was good to get back up to the school, and it was eerily quiet up there. I couldn't believe it. I don't know if that was. my
It's
effect
because
on
you were
people,
there.
my effect on people. It's kind of like that wave, instead of a wave where you're walking and it gets loud, it was a wave and then it got quiet as I walked by. And then picked up behind me. So it's that, whatever you would call that, opposite effect.
Yeah,
Everything's going great with the police department. Things are going well. I spoke with the sheriff and I meet regularly with him as they are covering, and I appreciate the coverage that they're providing. I am on call, so I do respond out, but the sheriff's office assists, and I appreciate them because I come out or I call them and let them know on my way, and they say, don't worry about it, we'll handle it. So they're helping out immensely, and I appreciate them for that. And unless anybody has any questions, that's all I have.
thank you, chief. Anybody?
Okay.
All right. That takes us on to Mr. Jason Wofford of Public Works.
Yeah, you guys see my report. Is there any questions in regards to the report?
No.
To Shay's point earlier, all the street project got wrapped up. With that project, we got 10-inch ductile, which was an increase from 8-inch, which we currently had in there. We did a fire hydrant upgrade, so we put in an extra fire hydrant, put in extra valves for isolation points. Can't say enough about the contractor, probably the best I've worked with, as far as working with us and giving us a really good product. Yeah, Public Works has been running through emergency response as far as like shutting our systems down and just working from a manual operation standpoint at the water plant. It's something we do monthly, but we like to test it out and use different scenarios and different people. And that went really well, seeing as some of the utility workers, you know, haven't had much experience with the water plant. I think Kyle's done a really good job educating them and being able to locate and react. We're just getting ready for some budgetary things for the next fiscal year as far as what CIP projects we're gonna tackle. And currently it looks like we're gonna look at the second phase of Hemlock, which is gonna tie in and loop in the the subdivision that isn't looped into our system right now. So, and that's off of Buttercup and Dahlia, the east side of town. And the reservoir is a big one. So that's what we're kind of gearing up for right now. We're looking at the inbound project and dredging it and how much water we would be adding to our system. And right now it looks like roughly 1 million gallons.
Yeah.
Fully dredged out. So just, you know, some conversation we need to have as far as if the monetary amount's worth 1 million gallons.
And we're actually already working on money for that with the COG.
Right.
So
So
through grants.
perfect. And that's all I had if there's no questions.
For the dredging thing, is there a way that was determined to be possible? I think last time.
So there were ways, and interestingly, it was Kit Johnson
Right.
that came up. We were up there a couple of years back. But the idea is that I think the working theory, and it hasn't been studied by the engineers to completion, is that there'd be effectively a coffer dam that goes between the impound. And so you'd have your left side, right side. Water for 1 year would flow through one side of it while the other side was dug out. The following year, it would channel to the other side. And so then you could have annual maintenance if necessary in summer months. And you'd have the ability to hold back, like I said, 1 million gallons more of water.
Correct.
So,
And I did speak with engineering today about in regards to the 20,000 that was granted to us from Business Oregon, doing a more high level study for that impound connection to the water plant. In regards to that, their rebuttal was, why not put that into the Merkley and build up that coffer and do a much larger study? So that's just something I needed to pass on to council. So that's something we can discuss in more detail, but with RFPs and things of that nature, we'll
yeah,
kind of come back to it.
I think it's unlikely the council will say no to $20,000 in grant money.
Right. Just how we direct it.
Yeah, we'll find there's plenty of pipes and interties to study. And I think it's best for the city to have as many options as possible when it comes to future time, so. I think we'll find good ways to get it all spent, but we will have to have meetings coming right up if we have a meeting the end of next week with the Willamette Valley Council of Governments on the regional water. And they have a large grant that's being studied. It'll be happening at the same time that our grant for the Merkley money is happening. So we don't want to overlap those monies.
Right.
So it might be nice to have, at some point, a meeting with council and Public Works and maybe engineering as well to kind of discuss what the direction of travel is on that. So we get the best bang for our buck.
Agreed.
Cool. All right, so you said you were complete?
Yep.
So moving on to committee reports, Planning Commission did not have a meeting. They do have a meeting coming up this month that seems like it will be very exciting. Kind of going over the, and this can probably, is there anybody from economic development did Jenny? Is she online or did she?
She's not online. She did respond to my email today about,
The grant
Yeah,
withdrawal? Yeah. So
would
yeah,
be attending the planning commission
to
meeting.
kind of tie the two together, yeah, Economic Development Committee would be a great thing if they could actually make it to next Monday's Planning Commission meeting. Walt Wendelowski will be doing a presentation there, sort of talking about a lot of that encompassing downtown things with the
The local historic district designation?
Yes.
HIPPO.
through SHPO. And then that'll be all encompassed with trees and other amazing things that they're talking about doing down there. So we'll have to wait, tune in Monday for that, for the planning commission. Bob, do you think, for economic development, I mean, that was kind of the overview of it, right? Downtown Historic Society, what direction of travel, kind of waiting on Walt for some of those things with SHPO. So I think that would probably conclude planning and economic development committee reports for this month. But I think again, tune in for next month. We should have some really cool things to report. We didn't receive any council reports. Anybody have anything that didn't come up? Unfinished business, there isn't any. New business, the TLT discussion. So it's a transient lodging tax. So this is something that we started, was about 3 years ago. Passed a resolution. So the city would look at getting, I think it's 7% of the overnight accommodation for an Airbnb, or if somebody was to build a hotel or whatever like that in Yamhill. And we looked at that time of Ashland, Benton County, Carlton, Cascade Locks, Coos Bay, and those are in order, so alphabetical order. We looked at everywhere. 7% fell into the lower end of that, although not the lowest. And did you have more to?
Yes, so the ordinance passed and, we never really, no taxes have been collected on it. And, there've been a couple, Airbnbs, I believe, in town, but we don't really have anybody coming in that is applying for a business license. And not really the staff to go around tracking where VRBOs are, when they're having stays. It's kind of been this big issue of trying to figure out how we're going to account for these taxes. So I was looking into, there is a way to get these taxes collected through the Department of Revenue, where the state will collect these, because the state collects their portion of these transient lodging taxes. They have their own, I believe it's 3% that they take off the top. And they collect these through IGAs, and will collect them for cities. So I reached out to the Department of Revenue, and he sent me this handbook, which is kind of the step-by-step guide of how to do it, with a sample ordinance, which I went over today, and side by side with ours, it looks like ours was kind of made with a similar template. So right now that is in review to make sure that our ordinance is correct. That would be the first step. We have to have a specific ordinance for them to work with us. The second step would be signing up, with them through an IGA. But this way, the Department of Revenue is collecting that tax for us. We don't have to have staff members dealing with the collection of taxes, the accounting for it. They basically collect the tax and then send us a check for it. I mean, the other side of it, there is a charge for it. They do take those charges out of the cost, before they send us the check. And if those, costs, or if it does not cover it, then we can owe them money. So there's kind of a gray area there, not knowing how much we would be collecting in these taxes. But I'm interested in looking into this to see if we can do it. And I know that additionally, they're looking at, I think, a House bill. Is it 3558 or a House bill? And these taxes are to be used, I think, 70% for tourism.
Mhm.
And they're looking at a House bill to include public safety in this. So we would be able to use those for tourism and public safety, which would be more money that we can use to supplement public safety with it. So it would behoove the city to actually start collecting these taxes. And I just feel like the Department of Revenue has better resources, since they will be seeing these people's taxes and knowing what income they have, to collect it. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up to the council and have you guys look through the information and see what your thoughts are. If you feel like that's a good way to go, if you want us to try through, tracking down who might have VRBOs through the city right now and sending letters and trying to collect.
I know we started kind of doing that route like a year or two ago.
It was one of the.
It's harder than it
Yeah.
sounds.
Yeah, because you looked into it, I've looked into it. And the thing is really when you have 2 or 3 Airbnbs, it really becomes difficult because Airbnb and VRBO are under no obligation to tell us anything, and they don't want to pay us the tax. Right? So it becomes difficult, and that's where, like you said, going with the state is advantageous because they have actual access to bank accounts and tax records and so forth.
Mhm.
But if there's only 1 or 2 that are rented out a couple of times a month, we could actually end up owing money. So that's where we're trying to find out where the balance point is, right?
Mhm.
Is the state already getting the 3%? Or does that start once you start working with them?
I could ask them. I mean, they
The
did.
state just raised theirs
and
by,
see what they're getting, what they're seeing on their
Yeah.
end, and maybe they can answer that for me.
And we could do the math from there or something.
Yeah, they did have a formula in the booklet that I sent you for smalls. I think they called it the town of Middleton,
yeah,
with just a couple VRBOs, and it kind of gave you a sample of what the costs were. And they were, I think, minimal based on administrative fees and but
The time that I think you would spend trying to or working through that on our end, I feel like would be greater than the fees that if we were gonna pursue that, I think it would be more cost effective to do it through the state. As long as there's enough coming in.
right. So, I mean, and then we talked a little bit, did you want council to direct staff to continue to investigate, or did
I
you?
mean, I just wanted, at this point, it's on there as a discussion. I don't
Yeah.
have a direction. I'm still gathering information from them to make sure that our ordinance and, but if there's any input that you guys have.
I'd be interested
open
to see it
hearing.
also on, because in the short session, they did just raise the state TLT tax. And then one of our county commissioners is looking to put a TLT tax in as well. So I would hate to ever get to a point where we've taxed ourselves out of, you know, hotel accommodation or Airbnb accommodation. So it'd be interesting also to see where those things go.
I think every
Is-
other cities or every other place is probably gonna do the same thing
I
though.
think so too.
Okay.
Would it be
So-
interesting to know and know the answers to those?
Okay, so what county is looking to tax, if they're looking to tax everyone, or are they just looking to tax the RBOs that are outside of city limits, that are in county properties?
That's an interesting question. I didn't, so that was not brought up at the board meeting that I was aware of. That commissioner didn't seem to have a lot of traction with that, with the others. But being an election year, that's subject to change.
And if you could ask them what they're currently getting,
They can give
If
them
they
any
can,
information.
yeah.
Thank you for that work as well.
Yeah.
And Tim and I probably both can attest to the fact that it's kind of a frustrating rabbit hole.
I haven't looked lately, though, it's still, nothing new, no new ones. Are we still in the same?
She's sorting it.
I didn't hear what you said, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Oh, no, I was just saying, I haven't looked into like trying to track them down recently, so I don't know if it's changed or not since last year.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't looked
You guys-
into actually contacting the VRBOs or the Airbnbs to get any information.
Sure.
I just know that other cities are collecting them through the state, so I looked into that avenue. Because we do have a small staff and I really don't want to put the burden on to the staff to
Yeah,
take on an additional duty
Yeah.
of figuring this out.
for
I
sure.
would say try the state for a year and see how it goes. I mean, if you just do things from here, they're going to ignore you. You know that. They'll
Yeah.
never pay.
Well, the other thing is that we may not know where they are. Depending on how things are set up, right? So I think it would be interesting to find out.
Okay, so I'll get more information on it and then kind of, I'm still in the review process and then, come back to you guys and let you know. Let you know before well, obviously you'll have to do some kind of resolution.
Yeah.
To agree to the IPA, so. But just let you know that I am still working on that and hopefully we will have that going here shortly.
Fantastic. Thank you again.
Mhm.
And if I can jump back 2 pages to the consent agenda that I breezed right by.
Mhm.
Did council have any questions on the minutes for the 1/14/26 city council meeting? Minutes?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to back up to economic development. I have one thought. Please.
Okay, we should really avoid that.
Yeah, well, it just dawned on me
Okay.
what it was. And I'm sure I got the, sure I got the acronyms wrong. But the city government rules that we were talking about, whereas the city has to pass an ordinance regarding making the downtown a historic area. And we also have to have somebody in the position of a group of volunteers, or you talked about having the planning commission take the role of that part. I don't know. But that was something you wanted to bring up at the city council meeting, I believe.
So in a sense, but then with Walt coming back and having a larger umbrella of this thing, I think it would be wise to wait to hear what the trained professional planner has to say first. So, but thank you for that. Anyway, moving back to the consent agenda that we didn't have any questions on. Anybody did you have one?
No.
Can I get a motion?
make motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
And vote.
And I.
Ask, yeah.
Corrigan, I. Consent agenda passes unanimously. And moving on to information announcements for the good of the order. So the SEI filing period for OGAC is March 15th through the 15th of April. So do that early. Have you done that before? Did you have to do that?
I did do that before.
Yeah. The first budget meeting is March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, at 6 PM. There's still a vacancy. McMinnville City County Dinner is April 1st, April Fool's Day. If somebody could let, city recorder know by the 13th. I won't be here, so it'd be really cool if you could attend with Counselor Askey.
Okay.
Yay! So if you guys could just double check your calendar and make sure. It'll be fun.
The Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday. And then, April is Child Abuse Awareness Month. So keep that in mind. Is that when the pinwheels go out?
Yes.
Yes, so that's very cool. I would like to come help put those out whenever we do it.
Great.
Cool.
Okay.
Did you lose a titanium ring potentially putting them out last year?
Is there a value attached?
Not, I don't know. If anybody has lost a ring in one of the flower beds between here and Jane Heinrich Park, please contact Public Works, because there was one found. You have to describe it though beyond titanium. Does anybody else on council have anything that they would like to discuss tonight? Staff? With that, I'd entertain a motion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Nope, your
I
turn.
make a motion, we adjourn.
I second.
We are adjourned.